Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. These are the words of Henry Ford, a man whose influence extends far beyond the automobile. He changed the way we live, work, and think. This is the untold story of Henry Ford. He is often credited as the man who put America on wheels and transformed not just transportation but the very fabric of society. The assembly line, one of his most famous innovations, wasn't just a method for producing cars faster. It was a radical shift in how things were made, sparking the mass production era. Ford's story is about a man who struggled to find his footing in a world that wasn't ready for his ideas. A man who, despite his visionary mind, made controversial choices that left an indelible mark on his legacy. In exploring the untold aspects of Henry Ford's life, we uncover a man whose influence on modern industry cannot be overstated, but whose complexities reveal both triumphs and flaws. Henry Ford was born on July 30, 1863, in Springwells Township, Michigan, a rural area where life revolved around farming. Growing up on his family's farm, Ford showed little interest in agriculture. What captivated him were machines. At a young age, he became fascinated with the inner workings of machinery, often taking apart and reassembling items to understand how they functioned, such as the pocket watch given to him by his father when he was 12. By the time he was 16, Ford left his family farm to pursue his interest in machinery, becoming an apprentice at a machine shop in Detroit. These were formative years for Ford, as he spent time learning about engines, gears, and mechanics, developing the skills that would eventually define his career. After his apprenticeship, Ford worked for Edison Illuminating Company, where he quickly rose through the ranks to become chief engineer. During his time at Edison, Ford had the opportunity to experiment with gas-powered engines, which were still in their infancy. His first creation, the quadricycle, a four-wheeled bicycle powered by a gasoline engine, was a breakthrough. But it wasn't enough for Ford. He wanted to build something larger, more practical, and affordable. But Ford's journey was filled with setbacks. His first attempt to establish a company, the Detroit Automobile Company, ended in failure in 1901 due to high production costs and low sales. His second attempt, the Henry Ford Company, saw him ousted after disagreements with investors. Twice, Ford had faced near ruin. In 1903, with the support of investors, Ford founded the Ford Motor Company. He was determined not to repeat the mistakes of his earlier ventures. His goal was simple but ambitious: to create a car that was affordable, reliable, and easy to manufacture. This vision culminated in the creation of the Model T in 1908. The Model T was unlike any other car at the time. It was built to be durable, versatile, and, most importantly, affordable. Ford had designed the car not for the wealthy elite, but for everyday Americans. By 1914, Ford's company had sold over 250,000 units, a number that dwarfed its competitors. But Ford's true genius lay not just in the car itself, but in how he made it. His obsession with efficiency led to one of the most significant breakthroughs in industrial history, the moving assembly line. Before the assembly line, cars were built by skilled workers who crafted each car piece by piece, taking over 12 hours to complete a single vehicle. Ford revolutionized this process by breaking it down into smaller, more manageable tasks. The moving assembly line brought the car to the workers, rather than having workers move to the car. Each worker had one specific task to complete as the car moved down the line. This change reduced the time it took to build a Model T from 12 hours to just 90 minutes. The assembly line was more than just a productivity tool. It was a new way of thinking about manufacturing. Ford applied scientific principles to labor, finding ways to increase efficiency, reduce waste, and lower costs. This approach allowed him to continually lower the price of the Model T, making it more affordable with each passing year. By the early 1920s, the price had dropped to less than $300, making it accessible to the average American family. The implications of Ford's assembly line went far beyond the automotive industry. It set the standard for mass production in virtually every sector, from textiles to electronics. Ford's innovation transformed industries and economies worldwide, laying the foundation for modern manufacturing and the consumer society we live in today. Yet the rapid expansion of Ford's factories came with significant labor issues. The repetitive, fast-paced work on the assembly line led to high worker turnover and dissatisfaction. To address this, in 1914, Ford made a groundbreaking decision. He raised the wages of his workers to $5 per day, double the industry standard. This move was revolutionary. By paying his workers more, Ford not only boosted productivity and morale, but also helped create a new class of consumers who could afford to buy the very cars they were building. The $5 workday was lauded as a visionary move, but Ford's labor relations were not without controversy. While he paid his workers well, Ford also exerted a significant degree of control over their lives. He implemented strict moral guidelines for his employees, employing a sociological department to monitor their behavior outside of work. Ford believed that a happy, morally upright worker was a more productive worker. But this paternalistic approach drew criticism from those who felt it was intrusive. By the time Ford passed away in 1947, the world he helped shape was vastly different from the one he was born into. The assembly line had become the cornerstone of modern manufacturing, and the car had become an essential part of daily life for millions. Yet for all his success, Ford remains a controversial figure. His conspiracy theories and anti-Semitic views, his strict control over his workers, and his often autocratic management style presents a complex portrait of a man whose innovations changed the world but whose personal flaws left a lasting stain on his legacy. What do you think about Henry Ford? Do his innovations outweigh his personal controversies? If you're interested in learning more about the giants of American industry, don't miss our video on JP Morgan. Thanks for watching.